There's something extra unsettling about the unknown when it shows up in a place that feels safe. A place where nothing's really supposed to happen. That was Van Meter, Iowa in 1903. A quiet town, comfortable and predictable. Until something started showing up at night. Something tall with bat-like wings, glowing horns, and a stench that made grown men gag. And when the locals saw it, they didn't just scream or run. They armed themselves and chased it straight into the dark. This is the case of the Van Meter visitor, a strange chapter in American folklore that left behind more questions than answers, and maybe something still buried underground. Welcome to Supernatural Signals, where the screen meets the spirits. In today's episode, we're going back to late September of 1903, where strange reports started circling in Van Meter. Now, it's important to note it wasn't just gossip, nor was it small town superstition. These were first-hand accounts from well-respected locals, business owners, a doctor, even the town marshal. They all described the same thing: a massive winged creature with a beam of light coming from its head. It appeared at night, often seen perched on rooftops or gliding between buildings. And no matter how many times people tried to shoot it, the thing didn't react. It just flew off, silent and undisturbed. The creature left behind strange tracks, 3-toed and too big to belong to any known animal. But the part that sticks with people the most, the smell. Everyone who got close said it gave off a horrible odor, thick, sour, and hard to describe. And as the sightings increased, the town's fears turned into action. A small group eventually followed the creature's trail to an old, sealed-up coal mine on the outskirts of town. And according to them, it wasn't alone. Okay, so now that we have a better understanding of what was going on in Van Meter, let's go over the timeline of the events. The events in Van Meter played out over the course of just a few days. 5 nights to be exact. But each night things escalated. More witnesses and more fear and more questions. Let's walk through it. Night 1, September 29th, 1903. A local businessman named U.G. Griffith was walking through town when he noticed something perched on a nearby rooftop. It was massive, winged, and worst of all, there was a bright light glowing from its head. Thinking it was some kind of intruder, he fired his gun. The creature didn't flinch, it just flew off into the dark. And that's when people stopped calling it a hoax. Night 2, September 30th, 1903. The next night, Dr. Alcott, one of the town's physicians, was woken up by a strange sound outside his office. When he investigated, he saw a creature trying to enter through the front door, using what he described as its beak or horn, like it was trying to pick the lock. He fired his shotgun at it, again nothing, and the creature flew off, totally unfazed. Night 3, October 1st, 1903. The town was officially on edge. That night, Clarence Dunn, who was a bank teller, stayed late to keep watch after there were rumors circling that the creature might target the building. Around 1 a.m., he heard strange noises, then saw a bright beam of light sweep across the room. He fired his revolver, and later told people it felt like he was shooting into solid steel. That was the moment people started saying, this wasn't just an animal, this was something else entirely. Night 4, October 2nd, 1903. Word was spreading fast. The creature was now being seen by multiple citizens, each describing nearly the same thing. That night, O.V. White, another respected businessman, spotted the visitor on the rooftop again. This time, several others witnessed it too. People were calling it the monster. Some even speculated it could have been a demon or something from the underground. Night 5, October 3rd, 1903. By now, a posse had formed. Locals were armed and ready. Following a trail of strange tracks, they made their way to the abandoned coal mine just outside of town. And that's where they saw it again. Not just one creature, but this time two. One larger and the other smaller, possibly younger. The group claimed the creature flew into the mine and vanished inside. So they did what any terrified group of 1900s town folks would do. They sealed the entrance with dynamite, and just like that, the Van Meter visitor was never seen again. Alrighty, so now I want to go ahead and jump into my own personal thoughts and theories about this case, instead of first going into the theories that roam the internet. Because while researching this case, a couple things kept sticking with me. Not necessarily the creature itself, but the themes behind the story. Fear and curiosity. Here's the thing. What I think the Van Meter visitor was, honestly, that doesn't even feel like the point. I do think something strange happened. I don't believe it was man-made because it exhibited emotion and it responded. But I also don't think we have enough to say for sure what it was. And we may never know. But this is what really got me, what really made me pause. Even though this creature clearly could have harmed the townspeople, it didn't. It didn't even try. One of the first people to see it was reportedly a well-respected businessman, and his immediate reaction was to shoot at it. This wasn't a creature being a monster. That was fear. And yeah, some people could say, well, it tried to break into buildings. Okay, but if I was flying over unfamiliar territory and someone greeted me with guns, I'd probably be looking for a place to hide too. Especially if people kept saying how safe and quiet the town was. And instead of trying to understand it, they hunted it, they cornered it, and they most likely killed it. Whatever it was, its story ended with a gunpowder finale. And that left only questions in its place. Questions that, if you ask me, go against the very heart of staying curious. Now, I'm not saying the townspeople should have just handed over the keys and said, "Come on in, mysterious glowing horned beast creature." But what they did was act out of fear, not understanding. They saw something new, something unknown, and they panicked. And maybe that cost us more than we'll ever realize. I kept coming back to this because my boyfriend always says something about my cat. She's got some anxious tendencies, but she loves sitting in her cat tree, way up high or burrowing in her oversized pillow. Why? Because she feels safe there. And there's part of me that wonders, what if that's all the visitor wanted? Keep in mind, they kept saying it had a horrible smell. Maybe that was a symptom of being sick. And what if it was in a place it didn't understand? Flying over unfamiliar ground with maybe even a child in tow, trying to find shelter, trying to rest. And then when it finally found that safe place, deep inside the earth, they were blown up in their home. Because we let fear write the ending to a story we never took the time to read. Alrighty. So, maybe the Van Meter visitor wasn't a monster at all. Maybe it was just misunderstood. And maybe we'll never know what could have happened if curiosity had come first, instead of fear. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this strange little journey into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss future investigations. And if you have your own theory or a story about the creature that didn't quite fit the mold, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Until next time, stay curious and stay tuned into the supernatural. Thanks for watching.